Rubens, I'm just telling you, wow, this guy was amazing. He was always innovative, he was always powerful. He had this huge apprenticeship system. And so, with all of these extremely talented young men working under him, he had this massive output of art. He was a huge international success. He had an aristocratic background, so he was very well educated. He was a master of multiple languages, and he was really well versed in courtly manners and diplomacy, to the point where not only was he a successful artist, but he also served as a diplomat, and he had several diplomatic appointments in Italy, Spain, and France. He was charming, he was playful, he was funny, he was smart, he was eloquent. He was just a brilliant man. Now, his art is also brilliant in its example of the Flemish Baroque. What we're looking at here is Peter Paul Rubens' Elevation of the Cross. Now, this was painted for a church in Antwerp. It was later moved from that smaller church to Antwerp Cathedral. And what we have is a three-paneled altarpiece, and in the center we have the raising of the cross. That's where it gets its name, elevation, a raising of the cross. We see Jesus has been nailed, and they are yanking it, pulling it up. And on either side, we see followers of Christ as they look on at the horror of the crucifixion. Look at that center detail there. Right away, come on. Can you see? Can you see the correct characteristics of a Baroque? Diagonal lines. Yes, there's this long diagonal of the crucifix. Remember what we talked about, how diagonal lines are always unstable lines. They're pushing and pulling. They're rising and falling. And here we see this heavy, beautiful, muscular body of Jesus, and he's being pulled up by these big, strong men, and it's a struggle, right? So we get this tension of, oh, is it gonna raise? Is it falling? Oh. Chiaroscuro? Absolutely. I'm sorry, tenebrism? Absolutely. Not only do we have some muddy areas in the background, but look at this extreme highlight and shadow that defines the figures, the musculature. Look at that heavy, dark shadow. I don't know about you, but my abs don't make those kinds of shadows. Not only because he's muscular, but because it's like extreme shadow and extreme brightness. What else can we say is characteristic of the Baroque moment? Yeah, that's pretty obvious. This is the moment when he is being raised up, right? Now, his big, heavy bodies, Rubens was influenced by both Michelangelo, because Michelangelo loved these big, heavy, muscular bodies, and he was influenced by Caravaggio. And with Caravaggio, you see that in the faces of the people, their strong emotional reactions. Look at those eyebrows. Look at those furrowed brows. Look how Jesus looks up into the light of God. That's not something you see in Renaissance paintings. Renaissance are always so calm, cool, and collected. This is much more along the lines of Caravaggio and those big, heavy bodies of Michelangelo. The emphasis here is on the exertion, the power, the strength. Oftentimes, students will ask me about what this is up here. According to the description of the crucifixion in the words Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews, it was written in three languages on top of the crucifix, in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. So what Rubens is doing here is he's pulling in from the Bible the description of the crucifix. On either side, like I said, we have these life-size figures that are in reaction to the elevation. I love this image of it because it helps us understand size and also how these types of three-panel altarpieces would be displayed. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? And then again, think about the extreme light, the extreme shadow, the diagonal lines, these big life-size figures. It's so dramatic. Look at those saturated colors here. Let me get out of the way. Even on the sides, do you notice the diagonal lines? Well, the lines aren't the line of the body or the line of the rope. Look at how Rubens uses color to create line. The contrast of the shadow from this horse with the brightness of the scene behind, and then the reverse here, the shadows in the background in contrast with the highlights in the foreground create that diagonal. What this does is it creates this V, these diagonal lines on either side, which help to nestle your eye into this dramatic scene of push and pull, of instability, of drama. Whew, right? It's beautiful. The intensity of the moment is expressed through the use of light and the use of color. Let me see if here, look at that. And look at their faces. They're all in various states of reaction to this, right? So the drama is in their facial expressions, the gesture. They are also giving us their back. So everybody is not displayed perfectly in front of us. Hi, we're here raising the cross. Look at us. Instead, their backs are to us as a way to add that sense of happening in front of us, right? They're not going to be concerned about showing us or being in our way because they're in the middle of this. So again, adding to that drama. This figure here, it's like he's going to fall right off of the altarpiece, right? It's like he's going to fall right into our space.